So how's everybody doing? It's Hank and Ricky back with another Two Birds and a Third impromptu discussion. We're going to be talking about Ezekiel Elliott's suspension, and we're going to be talking about our feelings on our team in the first week of the preseason. So let's talk about Zeke first. I think that is what we need to talk about first.
Yeah, and how BS the suspension is.
Basically. So, I've had to hear it from Kelly for a while. So I guess you could say this is nothing new for me because she's been talking about it all week. It's, to me, and I know Ricky has discussed it in at least, 2 videos? Right?
Yeah, no, I did a whole, a 17-minute discussion on it, going through the entire... Yeah.
Yeah, two whole videos about it. One was streamed and one was an actual video. And my personal feeling about it is, I can understand a suspension of 1 game or a fine if you were just running under the standpoint or the thought process that, he has been in the wrong place at the wrong time constantly. He's been, at a bar where a fight occurred. He's pulled up a girl's shirt. He's been accused of domestic violence. He's been, he drove 100 miles an hour and got caught. I can understand you being like, okay, 1 game suspension, that's something that's perfectly fine to me and completely understandable, in terms of something like that, And then, on the other hand, because of the fact that there's no longer a police investigation anymore into this case. Either he's not guilty, of course, which is what the authorities have been saying, or our justice system is totally inept and a 6-game suspension is he's lucky to get a 6-game suspension,
Yeah, see, now here's the thing. When I looked at this first, and when you're looking at the suspension, you have to look at what are they suspending him for. According to what the NFL stated, they are suspending him without pay for the domestic violence accusation. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know what, let's go ahead and look at this domestic violence accusation. If I'm the NFL, listen, this is what I think's ridiculous. If you have substantial evidence to prove Ezekiel Elliott has done this, release the evidence and show people. Don't be like, we have evidence, but we're not going to show it. You know why I think they didn't show it? Because I think they knew Zeke was going to appeal it, so they're going to wait till this goes to court, which I don't think they have enough evidence to prove this. Because if you remember, and I have the information on me right now, when I have a text. So one of the witnesses, they say, "Do you want me to lie about what happened that night because Zeke's lawyer is about to call me? Hurry, text me back."
Right.
And then she says, "Yes, do that." And then the Tiffany Thompson says, if they ask, he dragged me out of my car, okay?
Right.
And then the witness goes, "Okay, just now when we got here, we pulled up and he showed up, then yanked me out if the police ask."
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the thing. I understand domestic violence is no laughing matter, but the way the NFL is handling it is extremely horrible because it completely devalues the way other situations happen. So, in this instance, Ezekiel Elliott is accused and is suspended off of the accusation without no proof or substantial evidence to prove that he did that. I can understand, okay, 1 game suspension for the antics that have occurred over the past couple months. But the fact of the matter is it takes a year and then all of a sudden this other stuff happens. It's okay, we can suspend him. It's no. If you're the situation should have been resolved easily and the appeal should be resolved within the next 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
So it's definitely going to be before the regular season starts. And I guarantee you that if the suspension isn't repealed, you're gonna see a lot of crap happening in the league.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think he's going to be able to get away. Remember what happened to Tom Brady. I think in a way Tom Brady was falsely accused, but when it comes down to it, I don't think he's going to get his suspension all the way down.
Oh no.
And probably the worst thing that could happen is he absolutely loses his appeal and he gets suspended week 5 or week 6 and he serves a 6-game suspension and he's gone for the middle of the season. Which it's not the most important. It's not the most important part of the season, but it's still pretty big.
But here's the thing: the problem I have is that if people are comparing this to the Tom Brady situation, the difference is that Tom Brady if he wasn't complying with the NFL, which from what I saw he wasn't. Because he wasn't providing evidence. Zeke was gladly providing evidence to the NFL, yet they refused to think that he was providing substantial evidence. When if you look all over the internet, and if TMZ, you see, pictures of these wounds. Now keep in mind, I'm not saying that this is for sure written in stone, it's a lie. Because there could be something that comes out that proves me completely wrong. But at the end of the day, the bruises from other medical doctors have been proven to have occurred at another fight or altercation well before the entire Ezekiel Elliott situation happened. And not only that,
I think that if anything, he is more guilty of punching a DJ in the face than he is of beating this woman, because at least at that the fight at that club with the girl he was dating, at least you could say he might not have been there. The bar where the DJ got punched, he was there, so it's plausible that he could have done it. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna suspend him for anything, suspend him for that, or suspend him for pulling that girl's shirt up.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And this is what I think is gonna happen. Zeke's gonna appeal it. Roger's gonna be like, okay, I think I did this way too harshly. I'm gonna reduce it to 3 games or 2 games or 1 game. And what I think's funny is how all these fans of other fan bases, not necessarily you, Hank, but other fans of the fan bases across the league are like, oh, look at what Zeke. Oh man, they're gonna go 0-6. Yet the same people were saying, oh, he's all product of the offensive line. It's like, we'll get into when we do our preseason.
I thought that was Dak that was the product of the offensive line, not Zeke.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. And people are just trying to find a way to, point and laugh at the Cowboys. But I think the Cowboys will be perfectly fine when we do our preseason evaluations. Mm-hmm. But
I think that I look at this and I think to myself, what if this was Carson Wentz? What if this was Odell Beckham? What if this was random Redskins player? What if it was them that was responsible for this? And not to mention, you have people like Joe Mixon who have actually been charged with a domestic incident. There's evidence of such, and he's not getting suspended.
Well, this is what's, I think, stupid, and the whole consistency
before he was in the NFL.
Exactly. It's the whole idea of consistency that's the problem. It's like, it's not because he's a Dallas Cowboy and I happen to be a fan that I'm upset with the situation. It's the fact that I just want consistency with punishments. It's like, Ezekiel Elliott should not have been given the suspension because there is no evidence to prove that he for sure hit and abused this woman.
Yeah.
And yet people are going to forever, for as long as these people live, accuse and label Zeke something he possibly most likely isn't, and that being a woman beater. And that is what I feel bad for Zeke about, is because he will forever have that label on him, similar to how Ben Roethlisberger, I understand all these other situations have varying circumstances, but like how Ben Roethlisberger, some people call him a rapist. Some people call Tom Brady the cheater, and I understand all the situations do change and whatnot, and they're all different. But at the end of the day,
Vick, a dog killer.
Yeah, exactly. And people will know, there are going to be people that look at him this way, and they probably won't forgive him. I completely, I'm under the fence where if you give me evidence, and if he learns from this, like with Michael Vick, I forgave the guy because he served his time, he gave back to the community, and he paid his dues.
Yeah.
With Zeke, I think that it could help the Cowboys. It might be a blessing in disguise because it's going to help him mature. Not only that, if he's gone for 3 games, then he doesn't have much tread on his tires, so the Cowboys can utilize him more, and he'll be more fresh.
Yeah.
But I this is just ridiculous. I think that if you look at any other player, and only that, I think that this was a completely biased case because the person in charge of the investigation, not Roger, but this fan. Woman who was she's a confirmed Giants fan, so there is some bias in this. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I just think that Ezekiel Elliott has been completely wrongly accused, and this is just going to open up a Pandora's box where people can just falsely accuse people.
Yeah, I heard the reason, the underlying reason why is because he was just banging her and didn't want anything else, and she wanted to be his girlfriend, and that's not what he wanted. And I know people are gonna say, like, why are you standing up for the Dallas Cowboy? I hate the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are my least favorite football team, and it gives me great joy that if they were to ever go 2-14, 4-12, that stuff. But I don't want teams to have an unfair advantage because of something screwed up like this. If you know.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. Yeah, and it's like people. This is what I think's funny. You have Giants fans, and I want to have a good game where both sides are healthy, and that there are going to be no excuses. So, if the Eagles beat the Dallas Cowboys fully healthy, congratulations. You know what? At least it was a good game, and there's no excuse to that. Right. The Giants most likely are going to have to not play against Ezekiel Elliott. So if you come out and be like, at least this bum, it's like. You look like a coward of a fan because you don't want to face that team full force.
Okay.
And that's what I hate about it.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with that assessment. I don't want any team to have an unfair advantage because of a player that they lost. And just so I don't want any members of the Dallas Cowboys to get injured because when the Eagles play them and if the Eagles win, there aren't going to be any excuses thrown in any direction. There aren't going to be any asterisks.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that I think that if he appeals, he's not going to. It's just like Lane Johnson. He won't get suspended until week 4 or 5 if he does get suspended. Because that's how that process works. I just feel like at the end of the day, Jerry Jones is going to have to create an underground layer for Ezekiel Elliott. And that's where he's going to have to be for the rest of his life. Because it just seems like trouble follows him everywhere he goes. The guy has been for 4 or 5 times in the media for stuff that's happened, where he's been there or he's been at the scene of something, he's been questioned. It's just it's shaky. And I can understand if they suspend him for a game because of that, just to set the message of don't be near trouble, But I don't agree with a 6-game suspension because I don't think he did anything. I don't think he did anything bad. Ezekiel Elliott's an idiot. He's an immature.
Yeah,
idiot.
I think he's I think he needs to grow up. But
I don't think he hit anybody off the football field. Of course, he hit people on the football field, but not off the football field. So I think we should turn it to this Marshawn Lynch thing. One of the youngest running backs in the league, and now to one of the oldest running backs in the league. I think the story is that he was seen in the preseason game. He was seen sitting while they were playing the national anthem, which, by the way, is completely legal. And a lot of people are upset about this because they think Marshawn Lynch is trying to send a message, but actually Marshawn Lynch is just a giant troll. Marshawn Lynch usually spends the national anthem in the locker room. He doesn't come out for the national anthem. So those of you trying to equate this with like Colin Kaepernick and this whole freedom of speech thing, no, he's and you're not gonna figure out a reason why because Marshawn Lynch doesn't talk to the media. So it's like
he's just it's like whatever. Trolling. It's like a non-issue. It's
a non-issue that people are making an issue out of. Understand that you can have your opinion on you have to stand during the national anthem or else because it's respectful. The thing is, Marshawn Lynch has been known to be a disrespectful person. So he doesn't care.
I'm just doing this so I won't get fined.
Yeah, he just gives zero rats' asses.
Yeah, exactly. I personally don't care anymore. This is just this whole story about Marshawn Lynch sitting is a complete non-story for me. It's just like whatever.
Same.
Like the dude can do what he want. Yeah. It's like he's probably gonna, if he told you like why he sat down, he's probably like, oh, man, I was just tired.
Yeah, here's some Skittles. Finish them off.
Yeah, I was just finishing up some Skittles. So
I dropped one and I was trying to find it under the bench. It's like, to me, it's relevant enough to bring up, but not really to analyze.
Yeah, all right. I think we should because this next part's gonna take a bit.
Right, do you wanna talk about your Cowboys preseason game yesterday?
Yeah, sure. It was nothing special. I was just looking for people to pop off my screen, and I actually saw some. I saw. Let's see. So to start off, I think I need to see more from La'el Collins from the right tackle spot because I saw him struggling a bit, but I don't know if it's just one of those. It's one of those games where it's like, oh, you know how like sometimes you'll have like your players all has an off day. I'm hoping that's what it is. Mm-hmm. I don't want La'el to start struggling, but I think he'll be fine. Jonathan Cooper looks really solid at left guard. He's been playing that position like nearly 24/7 in the Cowboys scheme, like every single quarter. So he's getting experience there, which is good. Mm-hmm. I know Tyron Smith's having back troubles, but whatever. So I think the line will be solid as long as no one gets hurt. Knock on wood. But I think what really intrigued me was the quarterback situation.
Taco Charlton had a nice sack.
Oh yeah, it almost resulted in a safety. Yeah. And I'll get to that in a sec. Yeah. The whole defense. So first, looking at the offense. So I think Kellen Moore's stock is beginning to drop because of Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush is actually surprising me. I thought he would just, I didn't think he was going to be much, but I'm surprised at how well Cooper Rush has developed. And I hope the Cowboys keep him as the third string and eventually develop into Dak's backup because he can put the ball where it has to be. Yeah, he can throw the ball quite nicely. He doesn't have a lot of arm strength, but he can put the ball where it has to be, so he's very accurate. So I don't think Kellen Moore is going to stay on the team for a considerable amount of time. I think he will eventually be cut after this season.
The rabbit.
Yeah, rip. As for Rico Gathers, he is surprising everybody. He's doing phenomenal. He so far has caught every pass thrown to him, or nearly every pass thrown to him, and he's caught 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards in both the preseason games with the action he's been given. Mm-hmm. I think he's developing extremely well, and I hope he gets put on that 53-man roster. He deserves it 110%. Mm-hmm. The guy's been balling out. He's a freak of nature, and like when he catches the football, it's like nothing to him. Like he literally when he caught his first touchdown pass, he literally just put his hands up and caught it. That's what basketball does. Uh-huh. But I think that
he was
overall
he was pretty good. Gathers.
Yeah, I think overall, yeah. Overall, I think the Cowboys are experiencing that is what I wanted to see. I could care less if it's a win or a loss, but what I saw from Cooper Rush and Rico Gathers on the offensive side of the ball, as well as a bit of good Jonathan Cooper, really enlightened me to know that we have some good pieces there for the future. Now, as for the defense, Mr. Taco Charlton gets his first NFL sack and actually did a lot better than his first appearance.
Yeah.
He's showing that he can. I'm not expecting him to be much. I know people want to be like, "Oh, but Derek Barnett's going to be better." It's like, yeah, because he was drafted higher, so you expect him to be better. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think Taco has done a fantastic job currently with his pursuit of the ball. I mean, the Cowboys caused 6 forced fumbles for the Rams.
Yeah, I saw that.
On the defensive side of the ball. And I think we need to just get down pursuing the ball. Yes, it's preseason. I understand that. But you want to see some of these rookies start to show, progression.
Mm-hmm.
As for Mr. Lennar, number 14, he's cut after bobbling that kickoff.
The punt returner, the muff punt.
Yeah.
When we were at the bar, Kelly was like, "Are you freaking kidding me? Who is that?"
That's exactly like when I was at the Phillies game. Like I was like watching live feed in between the innings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Who's this Lennar guy? Get him off my team immediately." No, but at the end of the day, I think the Cowboys are doing much. They're progressing well. I want to see how they will do in the next couple. We're hoping to see more out of the defense. I think Xavier Woods has looked fantastic.
Mm.
I mean, him, being a ball hawk and him hitting the ball, him and a bunch of the other rookies playing the ball well. The Cowboys' run defense looks extremely phenomenal. The pass defense needs work. But I mean, I think that was expected. I thought the Cowboys' rush defense is better than the pass defense, mainly because
what I saw from the Rams was like a lot of dump off passes.
Exactly.
Running back
so it's like
passes that like it just seemed like the Cowboys weren't scheming for that.
Yeah, and I mean, what are you gonna do? But I think the Cowboys' front seven will be all right, not elite, but it'll be all right in terms. Like I think they'll do phenomenal against the run, but as for the pass, that's going to come down to how the cornerbacks and the linebackers play.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen what Jalen Smith looks like. So I mean, overall, I think the Cowboys are progressing well in some places. I think that Kellen Moore's stock is dropping as the backup. I mean, looking. I got nothing else to say other than Cowboys are all right.
While I was watching the game, Kelly was mad that the Cowboys lost. She was like, I want to win every game, and I was like, okay, preseason champs right here. But I honestly, you're better off losing a preseason game than winning it. But I'll kind of get back into that as I wrap up. But I thought that Rush played well. I thought Gathers played well. I thought the Cowboys running backs catching the ball out of the backfield, they did pretty well. I don't think the Cowboys rush defense or their rush defense is as good as the Rams offensive line is really bad.
I understand. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But that's something good to see. It was a low-scoring game, so it wasn't really that exciting, but that's what most preseason games are. It's like your 8, 9, 10-year-old playing soccer. It was kind of like... It was like the first preseason game for the Rams, so it's like you should not put that much stock in at least the first preseason game, if not the first 2 preseason games. Because, again, most of the Dallas Cowboys starters, or at least the big starters, they didn't really play. Your Zekes, your Dax, your Dez, your Witten, they didn't play. So,
and I forgot to bring this up, and this is why I think the Cowboys will be fine in the long term. As if say hypothetically Zeke's going for 6 games, I doubt that's gonna stick.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever, anything can happen.
Yeah.
But I think the Cowboys will be fine. Like you need like a lot of people don't realize like they have Darren McFadden, who was once a 1,000-yard rusher behind the Cowboys in 2015. Yes, I understand that McFadden's older. I'm not expecting him to be elite, but he can get the job done. You have Alfred Morris, another 1,000-yard rusher. Again, not expecting much. I mean,
yeah.
Like, I'm not expecting them to be like, oh, they had to rush like 200 yards every game. No, they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think Darren McFadden will be fine as the starter with Zeke out. I mean, but like you got to look. If you look at all the other NFC East teams, right? Darren McFadden and Alfred Morris could be starters on all of those teams.
Yeah.
Like Darren McFadden, definitely a starter on the Giants, definitely a starter on the Eagles, definitely a starter on the Redskins. Same thing with Alfred Morris, possibly, depending. Well, outside of the Eagles because of a scheme fit, but
yeah.
I think that Dallas has the most stable running back group. I mean, they added Ronnie Hillman as well, which he's not necessarily bad, but he's not elite, like I said. Like, I mean, they have a very good stable of running backs at their disposal, and a lot of people don't recognize that. And I think that the team will live and die by Dak, not by Zeke. And that's another thing people don't analyze. Yeah. Because, how do I word it? It's like, Dallas will have the weapons available for Dak, and I think we're going to truly see how great Dak is without Zeke. Zeke is like the extra pop to the Cowboys. That's why they go 13-3 or 12-4.
Yeah, that's true.
If you don't have Zeke, the Cowboys are like a 10-win, 11-5 at most team, which So I think that I think the Cowboys will be fine. There's nothing to worry, but I won't be surprised if they lose a lot more closer games than last year because of Zeke. Because Zeke, again, gives you that extra.
Yeah, because he's better at converting situations, and he's really good at long runs, and you could probably score a lot of walk-off touchdowns.
Exactly. So just to watch out, NFL Zeke's gonna come back with a vengeance.
Right.
That's why.
Tom Brady.
Oh my God.
All right.
Let's see.
I'll talk about the Eagles. We all know that the Eagles traded Jordan Matthews to the Buffalo Bills for Ronald Darby. Originally, like I said earlier, I was kind of upset about the move because I really like Jordan Matthews. He's a true professional in terms of his attitude, but when it's all said and done, he's not a consistent enough player. I mean, he's got the bulk to play slot receiver, but he's one of those guys who, he'll make a big play and then drop the next easy pass. So
he's like hot and cold.
Yeah, he's too hot and cold. But and they got rid of a 3rd-round pick for Darby too. And I'm hearing in camp, and I mean this is just camp, this is not real, that he is by far the best cornerback on the team. So the Eagles are.
That's not saying much, though.
Yeah. The Eagles are ever so slightly becoming the Buffalo Bills. So you don't even know.
So they're going to be.
You don't even know
painfully mediocre forever.
You don't even know how many Buffalo Bills players the Eagles have had on their. They had Ron Brooks, they had Leotis McKelvin,
Kiko
Alonso. So we're like the Philadelphia Bills. But I think that I mean during the game, at least the starting cornerbacks played relatively well. Like they played in front of them. There was one play in which Jalen Mills obviously interfered with the pass that wasn't called. But and what Patrick Robinson forced a fumble, I think. And I mean, Brent Hundley, he looked like he was going out there and he was playing tough. He made some really good throws. He's no Aaron Rodgers, but the starting cornerbacks were able to hold their own. Carson Wentz, obviously, the only drive he was really in, was able to throw a touchdown. He almost got sacked twice. He got sacked once, but he got out of it in a 4th down situation for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So I mean that's and his mechanics looked a lot better. And the throw he threw to Mac Hollins was not. He didn't even set up for that throw. It was like a jump pass. He kind of
it was just it was like
and he,
how
and he twerked the ball into the receiver's hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and obviously you seemed entertained by his abilities. The thing is you were a little down on our offensive line. I do think that, of course, like Jason Kelsey, our center, he's not big enough to play center in this
obviously
league. But I do think that it was really weird because usually in the preseason you're not putting in a lot of blitzes. You're usually playing your linebackers back, but that's not what the Packers did. Those 2 plays were
blitzes.
Were blitzes, yeah. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Again, it's preseason. You don't know. Maybe the line is not going to be as good. Maybe it is going to be good. I do think the Eagles have a lot of depth on the line, but I definitely would like to see them hold up better in future preseason games.
Yeah, I will have to bring this up, is that when it comes to that line, I feel scared about Wentz because you never want your quarterback to make those kinds of throws. Yes, it was phenomenal what he did and how his mechanics have progressed, but you don't want your quarterback to make those kinds of throws ever, or be forced to throw the ball because that could lead to interceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, he did that a lot in his rookie season, and you don't want that happening again. He did extremely well under pressure, which I think he's beginning to learn how to handle it.
Yeah.
I mean, but what I think the Eagles are trying to do is with them trading Jordan Matthews, I think they're probably banking on Alshon Jeffrey being the long-term solution at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Which was thinking that
or Mac Hollins.
Or that.
Because he played pretty well too.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what it's going to bank on. And I am a person that, and I think I mainly get this because of how the Cowboys have been building over the past couple years through the draft. I'm one that doesn't believe in trading up, but trading down, getting more, and using draft picks to get talent. Yeah. I don't believe in trading draft picks. I don't believe in trading draft picks unless it's absolutely necessary. And so, I don't like it when when teams if my team kept throwing draft picks to, and I know we've had bad experiences with, moving out and moving in to get players. So I mean,
yeah,
I'm not a fan
Roy Williams.
of moving up or down. Exactly. That's one instance.
That I feel about Roy Williams that was different is the fact that Roy Williams, the Cowboys at that point in time were a team that had a lot of disarray. Like you had T.O. who was not content with his position on the team, and there was a lot of drama. You had Pac-Man Jones, and Jerry still ran the team and making horrible draft picks himself at that stage. I just feel like that's a different situation. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey in practice, he catches everything that comes to him. So,
I'm not saying that the whole thing with Alshon Jeffrey is going to be a bombshell. That's not what I'm saying, which I think you're aware of. What I'm trying to say is that when it comes to the whole situation with trading draft picks to acquire players, I'm not a fan of that because
I'm not either.
Think about it. Because think about it. You might end up having.
But this is a different situation because I don't think the Eagles were going to sign Jordan Matthews.
And I think this was the last year of his contract, I believe.
Yeah, it was the last year of his contract. He had underperformed, and even if he had performed well, I still don't think they would have signed him because he's not a starting wide receiver. And in the instance you're comparing him to a guy like Jason Avant. Jason Avant didn't really catch a lot of touchdowns. He caught a lot of third down passes.
He reminds me of Terrence Williams.
Matthews.
And like Jordan Matthews, yeah.
Terrence Williams could play number 2 receiver. I don't think Jordan Matthews could play anything but slot.
Really? Yeah. I always thought he couldn't. He could try to play number 2.
He's tried to be the number 1 guy, but it hasn't worked. He's tried to be the number.
I think that's the same.
He's tried to be the number 2 guy, and it hasn't worked. With Terrence Williams, he doesn't have to be the number 1 guy.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem, and you gotta hope that Nelson Aguilar, and God forbid, he actually does a thing.
The GOAT.
I think what Doug Peterson is banking on is that he does something at slot, rather because think about it. All you're gonna have is Alshon Jeffrey, and
and Torrey
with
Smith.
The Cowboys, and I know what's up.
And Torrey Smith.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say these situations. Well, I understand they're 2 completely different offenses and how they work, but with the Cowboys, they have multiple weapons at wide receiver that they can go to, so it's hard to cover all those weapons. As for the Eagles, literally all you have to cover is Alshon Jeffrey, assuming that all the other ones are crappy receivers, which I'm not saying they are, but if that ends up becoming the case, yeah, sure, Wentz should be doing a bit better, but you can't expect him to do much if his number 1 guy is covered up 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, you also have Ertz.
Who knows?
You have Ertz too, who's a big receiver
that is true.
He's been the one who's been getting double covered in the past.
Yeah,
but but the preseason's the preseason. It doesn't matter. Again, who cares? As long as your main players don't get injured, and as long as you don't show your hand for the season, to me, that's all that matters. As long as your starters aren't fighting to score against backup players, that's really all that matters. What I do want to talk about on a final note are people who just take the preseason way too seriously.
Clearly,
who come on the internet and whine and complain about losing a worthless preseason game.
I think, yeah.
You probably know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
I just think that I just don't think it matters. It really doesn't. And if you're gonna get worked up about losing a preseason game where the starters were actually winning it at a certain period of time, and the look, in a regular season game where the Eagles go to Lambeau, they're losing. Okay, that's just happening. Aaron Rodgers didn't even play. That's just how relevant this game was. And if you're gonna come onto the internet, whine and complain about it, I'm sorry, you're not an intelligent sports fan or an intelligent football fan, and nobody should be either watching you or taking any note about your personal opinion.
Exactly, and I think that me personally, how I take the preseason, and I think we both is we look at certain sections of the game and we basically get upset. Say for example, if in my case with the Cowboys, if Rico Gathers is not performing to expectations or something, I would be upset because banking on this guy to be the possible successor to Witten, or Jalen Smith,
or he drops a pass. Say he dropped that touchdown, it went right into his hand, and he just dropped it. Nelson Aguilar.
That's where I get mad.
Nelson Aguilar dropping that 2-point conversion, right? One of two of his opportunities, he lost a yard and he dropped a 2-point conversion pass. But I just can't wrap my mind around, besides maybe getting views or something like that, that's the only thing that I can wrap my mind around. And I swear, people ask me about who we're talking about all the time. They're like, "Do you know that guy, right?" And I just have to shrug it off and say, "I know of him. I've met him before." But
I've met the one.
But it's like, you need to calm down. You're gonna get you're gonna pop a vein. You're gonna have a stroke.
Well, I can. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like, see, like, there's a difference between if I'm upset in a preseason game that, like, if it's a regular season, like when Terrence Williams forgot how to play football and run out of bounds, I was extremely upset with him.
Yeah.
I was like screaming at him, like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?" Like, okay, of course, I don't think Dan Bailey's gonna make like a 60-yard field goal.
No, that's
but still give him the chance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's when you get frustrated.
Yeah, a regular season game is when you are allowed to get frustrated, but the guy knows
Preseason.
The guy knows nothing. I will say the guy is allowed to be a fan because who am I to say that you cannot be a fan? But if you're getting that stressed out about a preseason game, if you're getting that stressed out about losing a preseason game, dude, just stop. Just stop. I can understand if views is a certain reason why it's happening and why you're making the content you're making. And I swear I see this guy's videos on like The Herd and like a bunch. He was on Tosh.0 a few times.
He was on Tosh.0. He was on The Herd. I believe he was on something else.
I'll tell you something. Right? This person, he knows about as much about football as I know about string theory. And I think I know more about string theory than he knows about football. I think Michael Rappaport knows more about football than this person. And that's saying
sad.
Something. So, I mean, I could get visually animated, but I'm not really going to. And the reason why I'm not bringing up this individual's name is because I don't want negative attention coming to this podcast in terms of you're trying to get views off of him. That's why you're saying his name and putting his name in the title. No.
Yeah, and that stupid little picture frame that wouldn't stay straight.
Right?
If you remember.
Well, I did that on purpose. Most people didn't know that I was doing that on purpose.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I originally did it because I was mad that Chimp was getting rid of all of our players, and basically, if you were to look in my closet, I had a LaShawn McCoy jersey, I had a Trent Cole jersey, I had Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin. He basically cleaned out my closet. Okay, Eminem style.
No, yeah, I mean. You gotta be kidding me, man. It's just like... Alright, but before we go, little notification. We have two spots open left. Because I did not get one guy to join. I don't know what's up with Wesley. He didn't join yet.
Oh, okay. I can tell... But you invited him, right? I can tell him for you.
Yes, I invited him.
Okay.
And if he needs me to send him another invite, I will. If he has another email, that's fine. So we got 2 spots open left. No money is off.
What's your fantasy football name?
What's mine?
Yeah, what's yours?
Like the team name?
The team name, yeah.
Oh, the meme machine.
The meme machine. Because this machine never stops. It keeps on chugging.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, my profile picture is the 3-28 Atlanta Falcons New England scoreboard.
My team name is Long Green Johnson. The picture of what is it? Chris Long, something Green, and Lane Johnson. In a row. So I could have had so many choices in that decision. I mean, I could have been like Long Cox. I remember one year when they had Antonio Dixon, or I don't think his name was Antonio Dixon. It was something Dixon, and Fletcher Cox. My name was Dixon Cox. It's like, honestly, like the phallic jokes. I wonder why I'm in a
I want to get this spot
relationship.
No, but I want to get these spots filled up because I want to have the draft lottery sometimes this Saturday because the I want us to have enough time between I think the preseason end. I don't know.
Say that again.
But could you not hear me?
Yeah. When does the preseason end?
I think it's the 2nd of September. I have no idea, but I want to have the draft lottery / draft position or the division positioning done on the 19th, so that we're all ready to go and like we just have the schedule the draft day.
I don't want the draft until like after the.
I mean, game. Yeah, I completely agree with you.
I don't want the. Because of injury purposes, like usually the 3rd game of the preseason is the dress rehearsal game, so I don't want it to be. Yes. I don't want it to be before that.
Yeah. Well, we'll come out with a date. I want it to be done soon, so then all we have to worry about is the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I prefer to schedule it a week beforehand, and then we could do this lottery. So yeah. So I think we should close it out. So yeah, guys, we got 2 spots left. Feel free to join.
Yep.
If you want to.
Yep. And I think we're planning on having another podcast Wednesday. 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern for all you people who don't get any sleep on the East Coast. And I'm sure we'll talk about. I'm sure we'll discuss like the Ravens and the Browns a little bit, unless DJ and Josh do another drive-by. Live drive-by discussion.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever it's called.
But otherwise, I think that on that Thursday, the Cowboys have their preseason game on Saturday, right? Again.
I believe.
Okay, so I think I'm going to do the same thing that I did before for the Eagles. I think Eagles-Bills preseason game. I'm just going to kind of like do an analysis with my face on the camera.
Your ugly face.
Yeah, my ugly face that I got a lot of abuse about by unfriendly commenters who wanted to have me stream the game. Honestly, and because I was helping out a Raiders fan last night on his phone because we were at a bar and they weren't showing the Raiders preseason game because where I live is kind of out of that zone. We're kind of out of that zone, and he needed help, and I ended up going to YouTube to help him. So if you really want to see the game, if you really want to see a streaming of the game, it'll be on YouTube if you have a phone. If you don't have a phone, right, and you have a computer, just go on Reddit. So, you see that?
We could care less, so it's fine. Like we're just doing this for fun.
Yeah, we're just
kind of Cowboys.
Like we would probably take like people asking questions. Here, let's answer one of his questions. So he says, "I can't believe who's TPS."
Total Pro Sports. Listen, I think Total Pro Sports is a load of crap. Like, I don't even trust them.
Are they like Pro Football Focus?
It has no. The kind of except they just do stupid lists and they just do dumb analysis. It's
TPS. I know what that is. Okay. It's the African American narrator, right?
Yes.
Okay, I know. Okay. Yeah, I don't
Justin
like
whatever his
lists.
name
I don't
is.
usually watch lists. But it doesn't surprise me that someone's making fun, dissing the Cowboys. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we're hoping to get the fantasy football league started with the draft lottery, and we'll probably have the draft in like 2 or 3 weeks or so.
After the preseason, definitely,
yeah,
and
almost,
because
yeah.
it was it was Daquan Jones. I don't know. I'm sorry, dude. I don't know who that is.
I don't know.
So.
I think that's the narrator, I guess.
Okay, yeah, dude, I have no idea, bro. Oh crap, we've been going on for almost an hour just ranting. I think we should head out now.
Yeah. So join us on Wednesday, and I hope everyone has a good day.